So well, I don't want to dwell on the negative too much, but what is it that makes being burgled so bad for people? Because it clearly is.
Well, there's obviously the financial component. I mean, I think often people underestimate what the cost of a burglary is. They lose items of value, and they may recover a percentage of the value, often never the full value of the item. And of course, if it's got a sentimental value, if it's a keepsake from a relative or something that's an heirloom, then of course you can never recover anything like the value to you as a person. But then there's the psychological effect of it, and that only really ever came home to me was when somebody tried to break into this house, which is why I set the business up in the first instance. It sort of really did have a big impact on my partner at the time. She was really quite spooked about her home, and you know, the home had become a different environment for her, and you don't necessarily always appreciate that at the time. Again, coming back to the financial side though, I sort of sat down and tried to work out once what the cost of a burglary is likely to be. And I've tried to include the things of taking time off to try to find out, you know, what's gone missing and everything else. And I reckon that you're talking something in the order of at least £3,000 in the event of a burglary. Clearly, the more items that get stolen, then the price escalates. If it's something like a car, people get burgled, they break into the house because it's easier to get into a house than there is into a car. Then, you know, who knows what the cost's going to be, because you've got the inconvenience of having lost the car. Yes, you might get the car back sometime in the future, but then insurance companies like to leave it a given period of time before they write it off. So you have all of those sorts of issues. So it can be quite significant on both the financial and the psychological side.
That figure of £3,000 is the uninsured loss, is it? That's what you just can't recover, is that what you...
Yeah, I mean, I think that the problem that people have is that, you know, they take time off work, and what they don't do is factor those sorts of costs into... I mean, in business you always look at what's something called the opportunity cost, and that is the fact that if I was spending my time either being on holiday, work or whatever, what would the cost to me be of losing that time and that effort? You know, so there's those aspects as well. So it is the uninsured loss. You know, insurance companies, whilst I'm not suggesting that they're fraudulent in the way that they operate, clearly try to minimise their losses. And often, if you can't prove the value of something, or that you even actually ever possess something, you'd struggle then to get the insurance company to pay for it.
And have you found that clients you're installing for say that that's quite a common problem for them then?
Yeah,
they can't get their money back?
Yeah, it's always a little bit difficult. I mean, I tend not to probe too deeply when people have been burgled, because, you know, they're upset enough anyway, and what we try to do is sort of go the other side of the coin and sort of try to give them reassurance and the comfort that they need to say that, you know, it isn't the end of the world. So, you know, it isn't something that we necessarily probe into in any great detail. But, you know, clearly when people want to talk to me, I'm happy to listen to them, and they can tell me about the sort of things that happens. And it usually it's the sentimental things, the things that, you know, you don't necessarily have a high intrinsic value, but they've got a high sentimental value, and you can never ever replace those. And the real sad thing about that is often the burglar doesn't recognise the intrinsic value; he'll just throw it away, and therefore something that was of significant value to you as an individual or a family, or may have been an heirloom from a great grandparent or something like that, is now just becomes a piece of junk on the street.
Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And those sorts of things actually do happen all the time.